Tonight, a groundbreaking project keeping families together, how it's helping young mums with drug and alcohol addiction issues stay with their children while going through recovery.
The service is amazing. It saved my life and saved my son's life as well. It kept me safe.
It's designed to keep kids out of the care system. Also making the headlines, Starmer's U-turn. He's reined in his plans to cut disability benefits, but will Labour's rebels get on board? In sport, one in, one out. Success for Cameron Norrie, but despair for Jacob Fernley on the opening day of Wimbledon. And the daytime disco helping adults with complex needs make new friends on the dance floor. I'm Kellyanne Woodland. This is the STV News at 6. Good evening. Breaking the cycle of addiction, be it to drugs or alcohol, can be a traumatic experience. But it's a trauma that can be made even worse when young children and expectant mothers are involved. One charity, Aberlour, specialises in residential rehabilitation, where mums can stay with their children. But it's a service offering just 8 beds across the whole of Scotland. They gave our reporter, Ollie Dickinson, special access to the house and the mothers and youngsters calling it home.
Held on tight to the big nut brown hair.
Whatever the tale being read, these young families are already part of incredible stories of recovery. They live in a special home that stops mothers being separated from their babies whilst they go through rehab. For the first time, 3 have agreed to talk. One is Samantha. We've changed her name and voice to protect her privacy.
I had been an alcoholic for 10 years, something like that. I wasn't financially stable, hadn't had a sober day in months, so I was really worried the impact it would have. I always thought, because my mental health and my drinking, that I wouldn't have been able to have my child in my care. Especially with being pregnant, it was really difficult to ask for help because I was so scared in case I did ask, and that's when it would get taken off me. The service is amazing. It saved my life and saved my son's life as well. It kept me safe. It made me become a person I never thought I could actually be. A sober mum, a family member, a friend. I'm part of society. As scary as it was, it's been the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Emma is a recovering drug addict. She too has been able to raise her baby at the house after her first child was removed from her care.
I've been addicted to drugs I was a really young age. I used it as a coping mechanism for I had mental health issues growing up, so I used drugs quite a lot. But when she did get removed, it was the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. I've never had anything like it. They were going to remove my baby at birth. They made that pretty clear, and there was no other option for me. I got the news that in January that I was able to come here while I was pregnant before I had my baby, and so I come in here 4 weeks before he was due. There is no stigma, there's no judgment, and it took me a while to get used to people being so nice. I was like, why? Why? Do you know what I mean? Because I'm not used to that. I'm used to different kind of scenarios.
Aberlour, who run this site and another in Dundee, say they want to break the stigma around rehabilitation. They say this service provides women with a chance in life they badly need. But with just 8 funded rooms in the whole of Scotland, managing the demand is a challenge.
We've always believed where it's safe to do so, mums, their babies and their children should remain together. And we're one of the only organisations in the country that offer that support. It is about choice. It's about offering the best solution to the mothers and their babies where and when they need it. The Scottish Government have funded both of our houses with input from Aberlour, so we are fully funded until the end of March 2026, but we're still looking for continuation funding beyond that.
70% of the women who come through this service leave and continue to care for their children. Abalawa also support women in their communities who are not ready to enter a residential placement. Those who have managed to secure a place here, though, say it has changed their life.
Been in addiction for a few years. Always wanted to help, but I've got kids, and I was always fear to go for help. Getting the kid removed. I've come on like leaps and bounds in a matter of 6 weeks I've been in here, and my life's better in 6 weeks. I know it's scary when you're out there and you're scared, but the best thing is to go for help and try your best to get in somewhere like this.
As we left this Abalawa house, another room was being readied for a young woman and her child. They are the latest to benefit from this work that has the potential to help generations caught up in the cycle of addiction. Ollie Dickinson, STV News.
A crucial vote in the House of Commons tomorrow on cuts to disability benefits is still in the balance after the UK government made major concessions over the weekend to try to avoid a huge rebellion. More than 120 Labour MPs had said they were ready to vote against the plans, forcing a rethink from ministers. Well, our Westminster correspondent Paris Gertsianis joins us now. So does the government have the votes, Paris?
Well, we just don't know for sure, Kellyanne, which is not where Keir Starmer would want to be 24 hours ahead of this vote. The government whips think they've got the number of rebels down to around 50. That would be safe, but certainly not comfortable. To avoid a certain defeat, the scale of these cuts was reduced by around half. So everyone who's currently receiving support has now been told that will continue. Scotland has its own system of disability benefits, but for anyone receiving the UK-wide universal credit health top-up, they've now been told that that will increase in line with inflation, so keep up with the cost of living. But there are plenty of Labour MPs who are still just not happy. They say treating people who are sick or disabled today differently from someone who might need help in a year's time creates an unfair two-tier system. So in a statement earlier setting out the details of these concessions, it certainly wasn't plain sailing.
Welfare reform is never easy, but it is essential, because there is no route to equality or social justice based on greater benefit spending alone. The path to a fairer society, where everyone can thrive, where people who can work get the support they need, and where we protect those who cannot work, that is the path we seek to build with our reforms.
I'm very grateful to my colleagues in the Labour front bench for listening to what backbenchers have been saying for months now and for making so many changes. However, I didn't see any changes that affect young people, particularly care-experienced young people. So I wonder if the Secretary of State could cast some light on what discussions are ongoing.
Patricia Ferguson chairs the Scottish Affairs Committee here at Westminster. You just heard from her, and she was near the top of the list of rebels along with fellow committee chairs. She certainly doesn't sound convinced.
And do we know how the other Scottish Labour MPs will vote, Paris?
Well, there were 12 Scottish Labour MPs who last week were publicly declared as rebels. We know one of them, Brian Leishman, is certainly going to vote against these cuts tomorrow. The others, I understand, are still deciding whether to change their mind. There's another dozen backbench Scottish Labour MPs, and they could still vote potentially against the government tomorrow. The remainder have government jobs and so are expected to be loyal. Win or lose, though, this whole episode has been hugely damaging to Keir Starmer's authority. His MPs are openly questioning whether his political judgment is able to stand up to the test. One Scottish Labour MP messaged me saying that they were likely to vote with the government, but out of despair. To say the whole thing has left a bad taste in the mouth doesn't cover it. We can't go on like this.
All right, Paris, we will get more from you tomorrow. Thank you. The UK COVID-19 inquiry resumed today, looking at the impact of the pandemic on care homes. The public hearing, which will last 5 weeks, will look at restrictions imposed within the care sector and the decision to discharge patients from hospitals to care homes. It opened with an impact video from families who lost a loved one to the virus. A Scottish woman whose father died of COVID in his care home says this can never be allowed to happen again.
They said he was failing and they'd called the doctor. And then there was all the toing and froing about whether or not somebody should be there, whether we could be there, whether we were allowed to be there. You had to have a very specialist knowledge of the regulations at that moment to know, so it didn't go. And then he died very soon after. And you're left with the guilt that you weren't sorry, that you weren't there, and you weren't holding his hand.
A former care worker who abused and raped vulnerable young people while working at residential care homes has been jailed for 15 years. Edward Stanton was found guilty of 11 charges at the High Court in Glasgow. The 73-year-old targeted a total of 10 victims at homes in Bellshill, Uddingston and Boswell. A man has been charged after a wooden crucifix was allegedly set alight and 40 headstones were damaged at a cemetery in East Renfrewshire. Police were called to St Conville Cemetery in Barrhead on Sunday morning. A 39-year-old man has been arrested and charged in connection with willful fire-raising and vandalism. Now, businesses on islands impacted by disruption to ferries can now apply for grants from the Scottish Government. The £4.4 million support fund will be available to companies on islands which have been hit by a large number of cancellations, including South Uist and Arran. The Government say awards will be worth between £3,000 and £35,000. Lewis Capaldi has announced a new tour following his performance at Glastonbury. The Scottish musician took a break in 2023 to focus on his health after being diagnosed with Tourette's syndrome. He appeared at Glastonbury on Friday and is releasing a new single and now set dates for his upcoming tour with 2 Scottish gigs in Glasgow and Aberdeen. Bookbug sessions have launched in a Scottish prison to help babies and toddlers bond with their dads. The popular singing and reading classes, usually held in local libraries, aim to provide a welcome space for children to foster a love of reading while spending time with their fathers, as Laura Piper reports.
It's story time at HMP Shotts. This is one of the Bookbug classes, introduced here to help young children bond with their dads. It's the men inside this maximum security prison who designed and built this space, many of them fathers themselves.
It makes a big difference. It makes a big difference because they don't really get to see their dad in that kind of space, whereas when they get in there they can run free and do whatever they like with their dads. Just to see their faces, it really is special. It really is special. It's kind of made my heart bigger, if you know what I mean, to see that, because they don't get to experience that on the outside.
This is the only maximum security prison solely accommodating long-term adult male prisoners in Scotland. Staff here have focused on developing a wide range of initiatives to help children impacted by a family member being incarcerated.
As well as Bookbug sessions, the staff here have also introduced clothing and toy donations and classes in woodworking, creative writing and healthy living, all part of supporting families.
According to government estimates, more than 20,000 children are living with a parent in prison each year in Scotland, a situation that can impact their education, income, stability and mental health.
The ultimate drive is about making sure that we're providing the facilities for families to engage with each other, for children not to miss out on part of their upbringing with dads, making sure that the family bond is at the heart of everything that we do.
Many of the men have now also signed up for writing classes. Their aim to have special books written for the children by the end of the year. Laura Piper, STV News, North Lanarkshire.
OK, sport now with Rahman and day one of Wimbledon.
STV Sport, sponsored by the C.R. Smith Summer Sale.
Good evening. Yes, on day one of Wimbledon, Cameron Norrie is through to the second round, but Jacob Fairley is out. Norrie defeated Roberto Bautista Agut in 4 sets, while Fairley lost in straight sets to João Fonseca. Well, the players and spectators had to contend with the sweltering weather as Wimbledon recorded the hottest opening day on record. Never mind strawberries and cream, sun cream was the order of the day as the championships got underway in scorching conditions.
We're definitely feeling it, so hopefully we can find some shade later on. Well, at least we haven't got to play, so...
Excited. Looking forward to some of the British players.
On court one, step forward, Jacob Fearnley. After making his Wimbledon debut last year, the Scot was tasked with taming talented teenager João Fonseca. Fearnley showed glimpses of his brilliance, but after failing to convert 3 break points, a double fault then cost him the first set. Fonseca dominated the second set, whether it was on his serve, the baseline or at the net. The Brazilian was in control. After an hour played, Fearnley was 2 sets down. The next set went to a tie-break. Fearnley squandered a 3-point lead, and soon after, he was out. Cameron Norrie reached the semi-finals of Wimbledon 3 years ago.
Got it.
Up against veteran Roberto Bautista Agut, 1 break of serve was enough to secure Norrie the first set by 6 games to 3. But the Spaniard, who has also reached the last 4 at the All England club, responded to level the match. Norrie, the former British #1, showed his fighting qualities.
Oh, great shot.
Taking the third set by 6 games to 4. He hadn't won a match on grass this year until now. Norrie emerged victorious after a 4th set tiebreak, and this is what it meant to him. He faces 12th seed Francis Tiafoe next. And that match takes place on Wednesday. On to football news, and Anne Budge says she's proud of what she's achieved at Hearts as she announced she'll stand down as chairperson later this year. Budge took over the reins at Tynecastle in 2014, helping the club exit administration following their financial collapse. She says the time is right for her to move on. Hearts say the club has re-established itself both on and off the pitch under her stewardship, adding the search for a new chair is underway. The news comes just days after Brighton owner Tony Bloom's near 10% stake in Hearts was ratified. Sorry, £10 million stake in Hearts was ratified. We asked some Hearts fans about Budge's decision.
I worship the ground she walks on. She's saved the Hearts. Simple as that. And if anybody says, oh, she's saved the Hearts, but no, there's nowhere else to go. She's saved the Hearts. If it wasn't for Anne, Queen Anne as I would call her, we would not have a club.
I think she's done her time, and I think it's time she retired, just for her own health and what you've got. She's done good for us.
She'll always be remembered. I think they rename the stand, the Anne Budge stand or something like that, you know, because she's been great for the club, you know.
I think she's done a marvellous job, and she probably has made the right decision, and I want to thank her for all she's done.
Callum Osmond says moving to Celtic is a big step for him as the striker became the club's 4th summer signing. Hayatou Inamura is set to become the 5th this week. Osmond has joined from Fulham on a 4-year contract. Brendan Rodgers says the 19-year-old is quick and powerful. Meanwhile, defender Inamura has confirmed he's played his last game for Japanese side Albirex Nagita and will make the move overseas. The 23-year-old is travelling to Scotland to finalise his move to the Champions. Hibs have appointed Dan Barnett as the club's new Chief Executive Officer. Barnett will join from Leicester City, where he spent 6 years as Commercial Director. He succeeds Ben Kensel, who left the club in January. Meanwhile, on the pitch, Jair Tavares has left the club by mutual consent. The midfielder, who was on loan at Motherwell last season, joined the Easter Road club 3 years ago, making 41 appearances. To rugby, and Ben White says he was shaking with excitement and has fulfilled a dream after being called up to the British and Irish Lions squad for the summer tour of Australia. The scrum half, who was with the Scotland squad in New Zealand for their tour, replaces Thomas Williams, who was injured in the Lions' win over Western Force at the weekend. Here's Chris Harvey.
The Scotland touring squad enjoyed a traditional Maori welcome when they arrived in Whangarei at the start of their summer tour of New Zealand and Fiji. But it was a very brief stay in New Zealand for Toulon scrum half Ben White, who was almost immediately called up to the Lions squad.
It's pretty crazy. I don't think it's quite sunk in yet, to be honest. He called me this morning and about an hour ago, and yeah, it's just, I haven't stopped shaking since, to be honest. Yeah, it's an incredible honour. I'm really excited.
White's been in great form for club and country.
It's brilliant. White calling for it. Scotland score.
And he was thrilled to be able to tell his parents about his surprise Lions call-up.
Yeah, I called my mum and dad straight away. I don't think they could quite believe it, to be honest. They were obviously just incredibly proud, and yeah, I'm really excited. It was just a great phone call to have, and yeah, it's amazing. And it's something you dream of, but you never really think you'll do. And yeah, I mean, yeah, just incredibly proud. And obviously, you know, I thank everyone that's helped me to get to this point. I guess along your rugby journey, you know, there's a lot of people that help you to be where you are, and you know, especially my family and things, and for that I'm very grateful.
Scotland kick off their tour on Saturday against the Maori All Blacks in Whangarei. Chris Harvey, STV Sport.
And finally back to football. How about this for a goal from Stevie May in a pre-season friendly? The Livingston striker spotted Alloa goalkeeper Toshuki Ogaya off his line, and from inside his own half scored a spectacular goal at the indoor arena on Saturday. What a strike it was. Livy won the match by 3-1.
STV Sport, sponsored by the C.R. Smith Summer Sale.
Okay, and that's what you call a goal. That's what John normally claims he's scored in the past. Never has. Never
Let
has.
him dream, Rahman.
Yeah.
Let him dream. All right, let's get your weather now from Sean.
Midday Mayan temples, followed by sunny afternoons on the sand. TUI sponsors STV weather.
Very good evening to you. Heatwave conditions across much of Europe, parts of Portugal, Spain, Italy, touching near 40 degrees in some spots, the mid-30s here, and also across lights of Germany and the southeast of England. For us, Fife, Clackmannanshire, West Lothian today, the mid to low 20s, but much fresher air across northwestern parts. A real boundary today, being much fresher for the likes of Argyll and Bute, also the Highlands, the Hebrides today. And we will slowly start to see that muggy and humid air getting swept away by that rain tonight eastwards. So an uncomfortable start tonight, central and eastern parts, but that fresher air coming in. Look at that, temperatures single figures tonight, parts of the Highlands and Argyll and Bute. Now tomorrow it's going to be dry, sunny, plenty of sunshine across western parts of the country. However, we've got the leftovers of the cloud, the outbreaks of rain across eastern parts, and that will spark off the risk of a few heavy showers tomorrow around lights of South Lanarkshire, stretching through North Lanarkshire into Glasgow, Dunbartonshire and Stirlingshire. So the risk of some quite heavy showers down the middle of the country during tomorrow, but lots of dry and sunny weather in the west. Now, the risk of heavy and thundery downpours on Wednesday, main focus for those in that pink shaded area, so mainly across eastern parts. For us, further west, a lot of dry, sunny weather once again, and hopefully staying that way on Thursday. But the afternoon highs are about 17, 18 degrees. Most of the showers on Thursday in the northwest. Bye-bye.
TUI sponsors STV weather.
And finally, when lockdown restrictions eased 4 years ago, Anne Gray realised there were very few ways for adults with complex needs, like her sister Linda, to socialise. In response, she and her friends and family founded the daytime party event Disco Buddies. The idea took off, attracting hundreds of partygoers across Lanarkshire, and now they're planning to expand. Tara Fitzpatrick joined them.
Every Monday and Wednesday, Disco Fever hits this Coatbridge Community Hall. Disco Buddies is a chance for adults with additional support needs to get together, make new friends and hit the dance floor.
Well, we love the disco, don't we, Matt? Yeah. What days we come on a Monday and a Wednesday? Matt just gets so much from it. He moved up from England 2 years ago, so he didn't know anyone. And since we came here, he's made so many friends.
The idea was founded by friends Anne and Bill in a bid to combat social isolation.
Well, it was during lockdown. My sister lived in supported living, Bill worked there, and I was there quite a lot, so everybody was fed up, and we used to arrange wee events outside, socially distanced. The difference in some people who've come in very, very quiet and shy, now they're mixing with everybody else, they're dragging their friends up onto the dance floor.
Girls before they wouldn't even look at you, and now they're showing you things and just interacting all the time.
It's like a big happy family, it really is.
For Anne, the discos are now a way to keep her sister's memory alive.
Linda loved music. Sadly, I lost Linda in January this year. It's a huge loss to everybody here, but she loved music, so did Tommy, her partner, and they just kept asking us to get events on and start a wee disco, so really it was their idea as well.
Now, the discos attract hundreds of party-goers each week.
We're an outreach service, so we're always looking for activities to kind of go out and get them socialising, making new friends.
They come alive, they've all got their own personalities, and just being in an environment like this lets them shine and be themselves.
I like dancing around and chatting to people.
It is really good to meet new friends, to meet new people.
If it wasn't for people that has given up their own, because it is their own time for to help out, there would be nothing.
Well, it's clear just how uplifting a party like this can be, and while this disco is taking a short break over the summer, organisers want to see it get bigger and better in the years to come, meaning there'll be plenty of opportunities to get your dancing shoes on.
Tara Fitzpatrick, STV News, Coatesbridge.
Makes you want to just get up and dance, doesn't it? Well, that's it from me. I'll be back with the late news, and from all of us here on the team, bye-bye.